who Scott Summers, great leader, better than Captain America.
Absolutely.
In my opinion.
Without
Totally.
I would argue it's very anyone would be hard pressed to prove you wrong.
Okay. Well, there are people who are going to go out there and
They'll
be
try.
like, "You're a
They'll-
lying sack
they'll
of
try,
shit.
but that's half the
Captain
fun.
America."
Yeah.
I forgot to ask. Are we PG-13 here? Because I'm gonna.
You can
Let it
go
rip.
X if you
Bam.
wanted to.
All right.
In fact, we insist. We're
All
going to
right,
need you to lose them
fantastic.
pants.
So Cyclops, who is a superb strategist, and part of it is because he's got to figure out all the angles. Because one of the coolest parts of his power, the optic blast,
Yeah.
he rebounds him. He does that, and here's a guy
Like
who,
8-ball.
yeah, here's a guy who knows algebra like that. The only person on the face of the fucking planet right now who actually uses algebra in
Yes.
his everyday life.
And I guarantee he got crap about that while they were in school. Like
Absolutely.
the school person of that match.
What's
he's like,
up,
I'm gonna use it.
bookworm?
I'm going to use it. You watch.
Yes.
Dude, not for anything, but that's the perfect built-in answer when some dumb kid is like, when am I ever going to use algebra? I don't know, maybe when you're fucking fighting Magneto?
Yeah, seriously.
Grow up!
Yeah.
Do you think Sentinels are going to knock down themselves?
Yeah, seriously, what's going on? You think a 3 cushion shot's easy? Yeah, and let's talk about gambling, shall we? And
Gambit, come here. We need you to talk intelligently
Yeah.
about this.
What you said, them ball? I was like, all right, now walk away, Gambit. I think we
Take
did
your
you
8
ever,
of clubs and get out of here,
Yeah.
please.
yeah, speaking of Cyclops, did you ever hear the theory that Gambit was supposed to be the third Summers brother?
What?
No,
Yes.
I have not.
That actually is
Yes.
kind of cool, though.
And with the
like,
character
just with the power
in
set.
mind, that makes sense.
Yeah, with a power set. Yeah, especially they gave us a
why'd they
hint.
punk out?
Because I don't know. 'Cause
Was the hint that he had most of Cyclops' unnecessary mask?
The
Yeah,
terrible
Gambit
mask.
has the most. He's like, I want what Cyclops has, but I don't have goggles, and also I need my hair to breathe.
and I also like the eyes. Man.
Yeah,
the
yeah.
eyes.
What?
Heroes love these.
I just threw a poll up on Facebook Live. Anyone watching, is Cyclops cool? Yes or no? We'll get the results.
Oh, that'd be great.
Excellent.
Please,
I
anybody
think
watching,
our boy is in trouble.
anybody watching, please feel free to vote.
Yeah, please do. And Charlie, we were talking before we started recording, and we're not even introing this podcast, which
Right.
I like a lot. But
we'll get to it. It'll be the
mid
swordfish.
Yeah,
version.
exactly.
It'll be
We'll
the
jump
Harry
into-
Berry's boob.
Yes,
Gotcha.
yes. You're welcome.
So, and Nightwing, I was going like thinking about all my favorite characters, and
Yeah.
Nightwing is like the perfect synthesis between Batman and Superman. He is an amazing leader, number one, and he's got Batman beat for acrobatics and the ability to fight. Batman has more technical knowledge,
Yeah.
but Dick Grayson can
And a better 401k.
And a
it's-
much better
well,
one.
unfortunately, yeah. Well, when Batman was murdered, Batman's parents were murdered. He got the Wayne fortune.
Yeah.
Dick Grayson,
Freaking
you know,
nepotism.
I
got
would like to
nothing.
think on one of the many Batman's dead fakeouts that our boy Dick cashed in.
I would
He was
hope
like, nope,
so.
he's definitely super
probably.
dead, everybody.
Hey, you know what? Yeah, I'm really sad.
And also, calling it the Dick Mansion would be so much fun.
oh, that's
Welcome to the Dick Mansion, baby.
And what-
The
poor
collar comes back.
mailman. They're like, where am I going with this package? Jeez Louise.
Oh, the Dick Mansion again from Adam and Eve. Oh, jeez. I know
Even
it's
the
brown
driveway
paper.
smells terrible.
Oh,
But
God.
what I love about Dick, enjoy that soundbite.
Yeah,
what
we
I
need that
what-
clip.
Continue.
What
What
I
do you
love
love about
about-
Dick? Tell us.
Send
What
that
I
right to
love
my
about
phone.
Tell
Nightwing, more than anything else, was he's someone who, if all the kids on the playground had their Batman lunchboxes, he of course would idolize Superman, the
Yeah.
living, breathing God. Yeah, Batman knows stuff that Dick can learn.
Sure.
Yeah.
That's ultimately the dressing down of Batman. If anyone wants to do it, is like,
This is a
well, if you had
soundbite
enough
episode almost exclusively.
if you had enough time and enough resources, anyone could be Batman. Grayson's like, well, I definitely can't be Superman. A rocket pack isn't going to make me Superman. A bulletproof suit eventually is going to crack. So that sort of ability to look up to someone that you could never be, but who absolutely will show up to your
This
birthday
is sounding very autobiographical on your
No, but
part.
I-
I
but-
just got to tell you.
Oh, that's funny. But I love that, you know, and yes, he can't learn how to fly from Superman. He can't learn how to, you know, take a bullet in the eye.
Yeah.
But he learned a lot of other things like standing up for the little guy. And that's
Yeah,
I think that's
100%.
I mean,
Right is
Batman
right.
Batman does that, but Batman's like, the little guy's a pain in my ass. You know,
Yeah. It's a muddy line with him.
Or
at
even
best.
you can't tell me that, and I'm shocked if it hasn't happened yet. I probably just missed it. But who would Dick Grayson go to for love advice? Batman's like, find someone who's bad and has a mask, preferably if she's themed in our city. Whereas Superman, again, everything about him is what Dick would want to be. He has the ability to protect everyone. He always does what's right. He's reliable. Batman's not showing up to graduation parties. He's just not.
No, you're absolutely
And
right.
Superman is.
And well, I mean, the super speed has a little bit.
Little
to
does
do.
help.
A little bit.
That
to
was
do
just
with
a rumor. She's got a big mouth, so I'm not. We'll put a pin on it, but we're gonna slightly readjust the sales.
Let's do it.
And I want to wish everyone a happy new comic book day, and welcome to a very special U.S. Comics Cast, your HQ for all things comic book related. 60 minutes, 2 topics for the people. I'm John Rivera, co-founder of U.S. Comics.
That makes me Charlie Rivera, the other co-founder of US Comics. And we're joined today by...
Mike Zapcic.
And Ming Chen.
Oh, snappy nappy. You do not have to adjust your dials. You heard it right. We are coming to you live to tape from the Shared Universe Studios.
And it is just too sweet to be here. And this is, I'm going to start off or restart off, or the Halle Berry boobs have returned.
Yes.
If I told you Ultimate Spider-Man, Alias, Powers, and 2001 to 2006 Daredevil, what does all that have in common?
Brian Michael
colors.
Bendis.
Brian Michael Bendis.
BMB.
Right? BMB. And, I mean, those titles are so important to me. Each one of those books or each one of those runs means so much about why I like comic books, why I love comic books. It's a foundation of who I am as a person.
No pressure.
I will feel the need, though, to remind the world that this is the same creator who brought us Civil War II, which was an utter cluster. His Guardians of the Galaxy run was, I think, it was a clear statement that he did not want to be working on that book. But in 2018, I took a nice tall glass of Kool-Aid, guzzled it back, because in July they said, Bendis is coming. He's taking over Superman. I now sit here early into 2020, and I am going to say, put a fork in it, he has ruined Superman.
Wow.
One of the greatest creators of all time has ruined arguably my favorite character of all time. And again, I should have known better, because his recent work hasn't been enjoyable for a billion reasons. But Superman is an interesting case, and I want to talk to you guys about it today. The first thing I just want to bring up is I'm not blind to the fact that how bad New 52 Superman was.
And Rebirth.
When-
Don't forget Rebirth.
Well, I think Rebirth fixed
Never forget
a lot.
Rebirth.
See, for me, when they knew that, we have to remember the worst of New 52 Superman.
Yes.
The worst of it wasn't the high collar, the cape that didn't make sense. The worst of it was, get me a Harley Davidson. I'm going to put on a T-shirt, and I'm going to wrap my knucks in my torn up baby blanket. That was the worst it could ever be. Shaved head Superman is worse than Electric Superman, is worse than Superman 4 Superman.
Who was driving that one? That I had stopped.
Oh, I don't
caring.
even. Yeah, no, it was
Superman
such.
Red, Superman Blue.
Well, that's when
Redux?
he lost his powers.
But which is a common theme.
yeah.
But when he lost his powers again in New 52, I don't remember who was working on it because it just hurts my soul too much. I do remember who saved it for me, right? Because Dan Jurgens came in and crafted you remember the old universe? That Superman's back. He's been in like the equivalent of a Bottle City.
Yeah.
Him and Lois, they smashed, boom, baby. Now we have this version of Superman we never saw before.
That was from. It was a convergence.
That
crap.
was convergence
And
leading
let me
into
tell you something. Talk about one of the biggest cluster. Holy crap.
You're not wrong.
No,
Yeah.
because
Yes.
they had everybody and their uncles, whatever you liked about the DC universe ever, they brought in. And
It was a buffet.
It was a fantastic concept. The worst execution I have ever seen.
Well, because it was obvious, just like New 52 and just like this Superman run that my former hero has been on. there's no plan on Jump Street. They say we'll figure
Well,
it out
you
as
would-
we go
you would
along.
assume.
It's identical to what happened with the new Star Wars trilogy. Clearly, there was no vision. There was nowhere they were going. And that ultimately takes whatever good is there, and there is good. I'm not an apologist for the new Star Wars trilogy, but I'm certainly not going to sit here and let anyone be like, it's the worst they've ever done. I seen Clone Wars. I seen Episode 1. Like, calm down, rewatch it. Tell me if you didn't want to take your eyes out.
Just recently, and again, sorry for the change in lanes, but
It's fine. I can bring it back.
I just recently rewatched the Clone Wars, the
cartoon?
the new trilogy leading up to the
Oh, the
cartoon because
movie.
I wanted to build up. Actually, we had a conversation, Charlie and I, about like, well, what is now the new established timeline? Because if you're a newbie coming to the table, a normal person would begin at the beginning. Regardless of when it happened to be made. So I
And
said,
you
let
shouldn't.
and now
You're
I
like,
know.
let's
Where
not do
were
that
you
anymore.
2 weeks ago? So I did that, and it was a painful process. Now, what I think is unique about that situation and the new Star Wars trilogy that is it's a conversation at best. Is that there maybe was a singular direction when on day one, but JJ lost control of that second. It was taken
Because
away
they were
from him.
too afraid to let they listened to criticism, which if you look at the Sonic movie trailer is sometimes a very good thing. When something is obviously bad, but this new
But it's
trilogy
not obviously bad because personally.
For Sonic?
For
Do you
Sonic,
not have
Yeah,
eyeballs?
come on.
What
I
are you
think
talking
yeah.
about?
Sonic was bad. Yeah,
The weird fur. Yeah, it's bad.
I'll give him that
But
one. I'll give him
Force
that one.
Awakens made money.
Right.
A lot of people hate everything. There's nothing can come out nowadays and not get its more than fair share
Somebody's gonna say
of
something.
criticism. But they got scared because they didn't want most of the money. They wanted all the money. I feel like DC Comics was in a very, very similar situation. When New 52 initially did really well because everyone was like, new number ones. Yay, that same gimmick that we keep falling for. I have 12 long boxes of issue ones of just the characters I liked.
Quite the collection.
It's
You can
it's
wipe your ass
absurd.
with them now.
And,
'cause
yeah,
it's,
and
yeah.
I choose to, except some of them have those
the
holographic
poly bag
covers that
is
cost me
worth more.
$7. Tear my ring piece.
Oh, the lenticular.
Yeah, exactly.
They're textured. That'll.
Yeah.
I mean, it'll work. It just won't
Mike
feel
loves
great.
them.
Well, what
better
I
than
was telling
Charmin.
John before we started recording was, and this is the perfect case. These three movies were movies made by committee.
100%.
Absolutely.
yes.
You need one man with a vision. You
Yes.
need one architect of Star Wars, the Star Wars universe. We had it with Lucas, and then Lucas
Went crazy.
went insane.
He
'cause-
he forgot he was a shit writer.
exactly.
Great concept, man.
Yeah, he's
He's-
an idea man, Chuck.
He's an
But what
just
that
terrible
reminds me,
dialogue.
call Starkiss. So, but he went back, and his saving grace, and I'm going to be very unpopular by saying this because if George Lucas is listening to US Comics, he'll stop right here and
You'll
throw you guys out the window.
Probably be safe.
Marsha Lucas saved the Star Wars
Yeah.
first trilogy.
Completely.
100%.
Yep.
She was the force behind the master.
It's
if I
also
can permit a pun.
and her
Nice.
fingerprints are probably most on Empire,
Yes.
and
Totally, yeah.
it's the only one where there's no argument.
Well, no, it's universe. Well,
There's like 7 hipsters that are
they're literally
sipping their chai
7
tea.
children out there that will debate the point that Empire's like
It
the
ends
greatest
sad.
ever.
Who wants that?
Oh,
You
yeah.
little
No,
shit.
nothing in life ever happens that way. Don't worry.
No, sorry, kids. Yeah, everyone dies and we're all happy.
Yeah.
It's fine. It's great.
So
Then-
what?
then
Hans a
Teddy Bear
popsicle.
showed up, and we still cheered because we
Well,
told them.
yeah, because I was told by you. This is where the age difference is a problem. You're like, this is good. I swear. I'm like, must be good. I'm a dumb child. But the one side effect of a singular vision is when should you pull the plug? Because again, think whatever you want about where he picked up the Superman comics, and at this point, he's had 40. I think over 40 issues because he oversees
Bendis did.
he oversees action and Superman
Right.
proper. The thing that was at least interesting for some Superman fans was this new family dynamic.
Yes.
It was the biggest change
Interesting
to
some.
Superman. Some hate you hate it.
I hate it.
Notoriously, but nonetheless interesting. And we were talking before we started recording. Timelines are important. What happened yesterday should inform today.
Mm-hmm.
And what he did systematically over 40 issues was he completely ruined that family dynamic. And I would argue it's impossible to argue against me. He's transformed Lois.
That sounds like a challenge.
It is a challenge. He's transformed Lois into a completely self-centered, selfish, story-hungry, just total bitch.
And she pretty much told Superman that they've got an open marriage now.
She's been cucking Clark for 40 issues.
Yeah.
Lois, you've had a freebie. You've been banging 2 different guys,
Yeah.
unbeknownst to you for so
Seriously,
long.
You've had a threesome for God's
How
sake.
greedy are you, lady?
But I know you just said that as a joke because I know you're not currently like reading actively the Superman comics. She went away with John to space with Jor-El, who's back. They're just trusting that he's
makes a lot of
good
sense.
now again. But they go away to space. Lois secretly comes back to Earth. Doesn't tell Clark. Everyone in the Daily Planet's like, hey, Clark, how was it getting divorced? Clearly she left you and took the kid. And he's like, no, I don't want to talk about it. She is wearing a wig. Cat Grant finds her. Clark is like, all right, I'll go find this.
I'm an
Shows up.
investigative
She
reporter,
just
too.
makes out with Superman in front of like a 7-Eleven with 35 people there snapping photos. So now the whole world is like, yep, Lois Lane is super doing it with Superman.
Right.
Then in bed, that goddamn night is like, rules don't apply. You're Superman.
So
Are you fucking kidding?
Again,
Lois's
with the
purple-eyed
Superman
glory
titles,
would never do that.
I played a lot of catch up because I also love the character, and obviously the build up was, at least the last time I was really paying attention to the outing, so to speak, of Superman.
Oh, you mean the
like-
second version of Truth in 4 years? That's also called Superman Truth?
Clearly, that's what I
Unoriginal
mean.
asshole.
That's what I mean.
No,
But I'm
I
saying,
mean,
was
that's-
this just an excuse, like a means to an end?
Well, no. What they've tried to do is he's tried to paint a picture of Superman being like, this is me lying.
Wow.
Not. You know what? Fuck Perry. Fuck Lois. They're not bulletproof. And he's like, I'm still gonna work at the planet though.
Yeah, and fuck Jimmy too. I mean,
Fuck yeah, little stupid.
Everyone who's in the line of fire. Fuck you.
Suddenly, how very Superman of him. And the one thing I will say is he's not always guilty of writing Superman poorly, but in what could you imagine Christopher Reeves in a Superman movie, which we had 2 bad ones of? Could you imagine being like,
whoa.
I'm gonna go ahead and out myself and just let's roll the dice
Yeah, let's see
on
what
everyone
happens on
living.
this one. And you know what? And I'm gonna go back and say that this isn't the only time that they've recycled a script, because if you'll remember, they adopted in Jeff Johns' run.
100%.
They had Lord Zod. It was Zod's
Yes,
kid, and they
yes.
adopted him, and he was great. But then he had to go back to the to Rockall, the Phantom Zone prison,
They kind of did something similar because
and then they aged his kid. Right? I just blew your mind, didn't I?
Well, not only did they age his kid, so I know you don't like the kid. What if I told you that I'm going to get rid of him?
Are you saying they pulled the
He's-
Rocky, and
he's
when he
gonna-
came back from
yes.
Russia, all of a sudden he was a threat to the universe?
100%
Okay, cool,
exactly
cool,
what they
cool,
did.
cool.
But in the meanwhile, the 3 weeks before he aged a billion years and got a terrible new costume, and it is terrible. Stop adding black to the Superman family. He gets tortured by Bizarro Lois and Clark on Earth 3. The not Injustice Society.
the crime
The crime syndicate.
Syndicate, yeah.
The Ultraman throws him in the bottom of a volcano and just abuses him,
Listen,
and then
sometimes things
complains
happen
about his
about
family.
comic
Dude,
games.
no one deserves that treatment, let alone poor little Jonathan Kent, named after his grandfather. Comes back, now he's older, just to ship him off to the Legion of Superheroes, which, by the way, because I make the mistake of reading these books, this version of Superman never went with them.
That's true. And
They're strange. He sent his kid with crazy grandpa, who has half his face goddamn melted.
Well, he's-
and then
Yeah,
just,
he's Mel Gibson and Man with Half a Face. Number one. You're gonna send it with racist grandpa. with
and
half
Lois
a
is like,
face?
by the way, throwing back to my Lois shade, she went, "There's gonna be a good story in it. Dope, honey.
Yeah, no,
Thanks.
All right, your Pulitzer versus your kid. Way to choose.
The comic would have
The
been so
shelf
much
will be
better
nice
if
and empty
Superman, this is Sparta her into the ship with Jor-El, snatch the kid by the hand and be like, why are you suddenly being written like a total asshole? You were beloved. Little Jonathan was the personification of the good qualities of Clark Kent with superpowers. He was very well written. The only reason stupid Damian Wayne was tolerable is when Jonathan Kent was around.
Yeah.
Let's just age him up. We're going to send him to Space War because he invented Space UN. That's the other thing Jonathan Kent did.
The 300
Dope.
reference is probably apt because, like, how old are you now? Get the fuck out. You gotta go.
Oh.
You gotta go.
Also,
But
if you had to guess, you love Superman, yeah?
7?
That's right.
Oh. Okay.
How do you think Superman would react to his son coming back, suddenly a teenager? He leaves an 11-year-old boy. Now he's a teenager. What do you think Superman's reaction is?
I mean, probably like mine. You know, I would be quite surprised.
Quite surprised. Does it feel like a Superman move to be like, okay, shut up, stop telling me your story, son who's now older. I'm going to fly into space because I'm angry.
Sure.
And I'm just going to like beat up Mongol. How the hell do you say that word? I like had a
Mongol.
stutter.
Yeah, that was good.
He like defeats him because he's so pissed off. Be like, that's who Superman is, right? The angry, just give him horns. Just give him little evil bat horns
Yeah, that's
and
not
call it a
good.
day. I'm sick of people hating Superman for being Superman, so they try to edge him up. That's
Well,
not
yeah,
the character.
And you know, Mike and I were discussing earlier before we started recording how important the core of a character is.
Shit,
That's
yeah.
one of those things where okay, this is my car. I bought it. I thought of buying it. I did my research. It's my car. But you know what though? Here are the keys. You can now drive my car. That's awesome. That's awesome. But analogy. But you still have to follow the rules of the road and the character's core definitions of what makes up that character, who makes them kind of what they are. You still have to. You're obligated to a certain degree. Just because you got permission to drive my car, that doesn't mean you get to turn him into a fucking bad guy, or you know he's a swinger now, or whatever the hell you want to do.
Yeah,
do
you
to
can't
him.
use your car for a drive-by shooting or
Yes.
for
Yeah.
But you
a
told
getaway
me I
car.
could drive it.
Yeah.
I didn't say you could ruin my fucking life.
Right. Don't change out the dubs. Don't throw a spoiler,
Yeah,
like a weird
yeah.
spoiler on there. Don't mess up the car.
Yeah,
But
dude,
also,
Don't mess up the car.
you know
Drive
what?
the car.
Don't even change the radio station. How about that?
Yeah.
Let's lay down ground
You want
rules.
to take the car on a road trip? That's great. But
Fine.
don't mess up the car.
Give it back fueled up and
Yeah.
clean. And don't smoke it. I'm not asking for a lot.
Ming, have you been reading either Superman or Action lately in this 40
I have
issue
not
run?
read it lately.
Okay, so this is because obviously you
And
have.
now,
This is just for you and.
maybe not.
This is just for you and John. How many issues do you think I just explained? All these huge changes.
I mean, I have no idea.
He's done 40, so just educated guess.
I mean, what, 10, 15?
I'm gonna go 16. Price is Right rules.
Fucking 6.
6?
Yeah.
It was his first 6-issue
That's it. It was
miniseries.
like 6, and that he Ryan
So-
Johnson the whole
Yeah,
franchise.
exactly right. It was the opening scroll.
That should
of
now
the
be the
scroll rather,
official.
of the new.
I've done wrong.
Yes,
Right.
it I cannot believe because if you
Wow.
want to change a character, if you want to write a compelling story, explaining to me why Superman is going to be different than his classic interpretation, do it. Tell that story. Maybe it'll be compelling. You can't just change a character like I've never read a Superman comic before, because I don't think he did.
Well,
Because Bendis never worked on a DC character before. This was his first, and he got the DC character in most people's
Right,
opinion.
right. Crown
Some
jewel.
people might argue, Batman, or some would even, but the Trinity, He clearly does. He can't like Superman for who Superman is.
Well-
He took away half of it.
Yeah.
Clark is a vital part of
it
Superman.
could be a look what I did situation, which is
Absolutely.
inherently, talent aside, is a dick move. Like and this goes to
And
from
not
me
a
thinking-
Grayson. Not Dick
No,
Grayson.
no,
move.
like the
A Dick Grayson move is
Potentially.
when you
I could see him
get
do
it
that.
at that right angle.
yeah.
Or you get a threesome with Batgirl and Starfire.
Right.
Or
But it's
just
like-
multiple Batgirls.
Yeah,
I also
there you
feel
go.
like that
Science
is
fiction movies have taught us nothing if not just because you can do something doesn't mean you should do it. Like
Right.
give it a minute. And there's and I hate to even use the words together, but as an often Superman apologizer, defender, a lot of times people come with, well, regardless of even like Elseworlds type stories, he always ends up being Superman again. Yeah, and like you're saying it like that. This is a bad thing. He's a great fucking character. So regardless of what shit you're able to throw at him, ultimately he ends up being his true self again. How is that bad story writing? If anything, it's good. In my way of thinking,
it lets the character shine through. John
yeah.
Byrne, when he did Man of Steel, a lot of people were like, "Oh, this is gonna suck," and a lot of people like me were like, "This is gonna be great," and they powered him down a little bit. And John Byrne did take a couple of liberties where he's like, go find somebody else. Phantom Stranger comes, Clark Kent, we need you to help. And he's like, I've done my supernatural stuff for the month.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. And he's like, I'm not giving you a choice. And boom. But essentially, he's still Superman. Essentially, he's still that, the Midwestern boy who has to help that person in need.
Which is vital. It's everything that character is.
But that's what makes Superman Superman. It's this, like, and you can talk poorly about like a defined set of black and white virtues for sure. But when your ass is on fire and Lex Luthor has raised your rent again, that's not really gonna be part of the conversation. You want someone who is definitively is going to help you and put your best interest before anything else. And for me, also when the conversation will come up like, well, why Superman when there are there's no shortage of superheroes that you can throw your support behind. Here is a circumstance where you literally have a character that can, for all intents and purposes, do anything. If he wants to be the heavyweight champion of the world, he's gonna be.
Tried that once.
That's true.
Of the universe,
that was
universe.
That was cheating. That was cheating, man. That was kryptonite involved.
Right. But ultimately he decides, you know what? I'm going to put all that aside. Even the way he lives, he's a working man. You know what I mean? Like he ultimately is going to decide, having the ability to do anything. What I'll do is help others, and that's what I've always found most amazing and inspiring about the character. That's the hope, so to speak, that they talk about the character.
There's, I think it was Prince Philip who said during the war, to be of service to others is the highest of distinctions.
100%.
And that is the personification of Superman. To be of service to others, because, Superman needs a nap. Nope, there's a fire in Tunisia.
Pull up those red underwears. You got to get going.
Exactly. And you need the underwear on the outside. You need that.
Always.
Why? Because.
Yeah.
For no other reason. Do you know?
Because shut up. That's why he needs
exactly.
it.
You go, you buy a shrimp cocktail. They leave that piece on the end of the tail. That serves no function.
It's not a handle.
No, it's not a handle.
Nice
You can't
handle.
eat it. You can't. It doesn't digest.
And I worked in the food service industry, and I've asked literal chefs, master chefs, why do they leave the little thing? He's like, I don't know, they've always just done it. Just done it.
I love the idea of the third time you ask, like, because it fucking is.
Yeah,
that's what we do.
Haven't you been here before?
Because you're fired. That's why. Because get the fuck out. Pack up your shit and get out.
I like that the first half of that you were in character. Like clearly that was a real chef. You were like, oh, get out. I'm like, oh, maybe I don't like this.
Yeah, that's a little close to home. But it's so true. It's like they've always done it, and it works.
And then I always get so frustrated when they take these legacy characters and feel the need, and they think that the only way to nuance them or to do something new is
give them a black uniform,
and a huge personality change. What I would love to see, because they've tried it in the past to varying degrees of success, how difficult it must be to be Superman Clark Kent while simultaneously a husband. Now add it, you have an 11-year-old kid who also adventures that you have to worry about. Like, he can't just go to goddamn space. Like, you need to help him. So what's that balancing act actually look like?
Yeah, what the? I mean, he's going out into space. It's not like he's borrowing the family car to go to the 7-Eleven.
He's not going around the corner.
No, he's going to space. And guess what? You know what happens when Superman goes under a red sun? His kid don't know what's, he's flying into a red sun, red solar system. And he's like, oh shit. He's like, I can't breathe now. And you're like, crap.
Yeah,
now I gotta go save him.
Oops. There was you could have done, if they wanted to spice things up, take a breather on Superman comic. Make it Superman and Son, and it's them going through the galaxies. If you really wanted them to be involved with
please,
the...
please, if anyone's listening, don't make it Superman and Son.
If
Please.
you wanted Legion...
Dun, dun, dun. Look, dummy. I want you to fly over to Daxon and pick up some garbage.
Well, I mean, you're probably most familiar with it, but when they did, I think it was a 3-issue, like a 3 issues. It was in Action, I think, but it was just them going on like a family trip, and it was the most interesting.
I'm sure nothing bad happened.
It was the
Fine.
most. Well, the cool thing is like nothing huge bad happened.
Right.
It was like tiny little stumble upon things while they're trying to like look at Colorado.
Yeah.
It was so goddamn interesting. I was like, they made a Mary Jane comic in Marvel that they think is going to be an ongoing. But you know it's not going to be a fucking ongoing. But you couldn't give me like the Kent Family Vacation. Do it yearbook style. It's 2008 Family Vacation, 2009.
I would
Family
sign
Vacation.
It's called an annual. How about that? Fuck yeah. There you
Why
go.
do we forget how those work, by the way?
I know. Oh my god. Yeah, because you needed 13 fucking books in a year.
Yeah, that's
why. Because that whole story arc couldn't work. You know what? You needed Jeff Johns, and I don't know if you guys read the Doomsday Clock.
Fuck yeah.
Of course, yeah.
Did you
talked
love the
about it,
ending?
actually.
You know what's so funny is I think I set myself up perfectly because when we finally got the last issue, 2 years later, I read it all as a complete.
Yeah.
The same way I watched the Watchmen.
Like you
I
binged it.
loved. I happened to love the ending.
So did I.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's-
it was,
And
I
it
just
m-
thought it was a master move to fix any problems I had. They fixed.
Yeah.
In like the 0 hour.
And since you're both such big Superman fans, did you ever read Alan Moore's Supreme run?
Yes.
yeah, of course.
There you are.
Yeah.
And this is the thing that pisses me off is that trade paperbacks go out of print and no one can get them.
It makes no sense in 2020.
I know.
Like
It's
we
just-
live in a digital landscape. Let
of
me
course.
hit print.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's no excuse.
There is no excuse.
No
I mean,
excuse.
in the era of print on demand, I mean, I got a movie burned to DVD for me, Blu-ray, whatever.
Sure, don't lie. It was
By-
DVD. You're poor.
by request by Amazon. Like they made this a thing for me.
Right.
So like technology has caught up to. In essence, if you want it, you can have it.
I want an absolute Supreme by Alan Moore. But the Alan Moore, and they fixed every bit of continuity and
It was
forever.
It was absolutely awesome, and the best part was
I'll
nothing
go
was
you-
just different for the sake.
Right. And I'll go you one better. It wasn't just awesome, it was elegant. That's a word that just never gets used. It was
true.
elegant, and he put such like a twist on it that you're like, bam.
It was elegant and satisfying.
Yes.
Yeah.
It managed to both be like it left you feeling warm, like after a delicious hot meal. It was absolutely incredible.
Well, you know what, and Charlie and I, we've spoken about this a few times. It's kind of reared its ugly head. But the reviewers of the world, both professional and amateur, I would argue they're all kind of amateur with the way they approach certain things. But we were talking about a reviewer who reviewed content never seen, and how that was like okay, and that,
the Witcher review. There was
for a lot of people,
Entertainment Weekly?
that's like an automatic, yeah. So he reviewed The Witcher, having never seen it, and kind of like handed it off. Well, but my buddy said
he did half
that-
an
that was
episode.
him
made
doing
his friend watch the
doing
rest.
his
He
job.
only watched like 2 episodes.
and
I was like, sucks F.
as offensive as that is, I would say it's equally offensive to have someone come in, and I've seen reviews like this, and I'm gonna apply it to writers of the content as well.
You got a minute.
Done. They come in and they say, well, not liking sci-fi films, the new Star Wars was blank, blank, blank. I don't care. If you don't like the genre that you're watching,
You're not
this is a part of,
qualified.
you're not qualified.
Yeah, I'm not listening to you.
And honestly, I don't want writers. I don't care about your bills. I don't care about your responsibilities at home. If you don't love Superman, don't write him. Sincerely, take your talents.
Please
take
don't
it to
write
South Beach. Go do something else, and save me because I'm spending the money and the time to ingest what you spit out.
Exactly. I loved Bendis's run on Iron Man. That was great.
So good.
Stay on Iron Man. Stay on Doom.
You clearly love it.
You gave Iron Man and you gave Doom a new lease on life.
Yeah,
Yeah.
100%. You took them off the recycle heap.
Exactly.
And again, I know there's money things that come in, but ultimately, at some point you have to be proud of what you're doing.
Right.
And I don't know how he could possibly be like, no, all my decisions. It doesn't matter that I haven't closed any of these 100 loose ends. We're just gonna move on because that's his new shtick lately. He's like, yeah, no, Rhaegal, yeah, whatever. Maybe he blew up Krypton. Also, that now allegedly a big monster destroyed Krypton. But that's
yeah, sure,
that's
fair.
our time. Last thoughts on Superman and this run that has hurt my heart.
I wish that Jeff Johns had stayed on Superman. I wish that he was the architect of
I wish they just gave him
DC
control.
instead of Dan Didio, because
Mm-hmm.
Dan Didio is like, hey, he's like free for all. You know, it's
Yeah.
like, and you know, I've met him a couple times. Nice guy, but you know what? You need somebody with that Jim Shooter kind of. You know, this is the way it goes, and you want continuity.
This is the way.
Yeah,
This is the way. I have spoken.
He's a great example though, because the bottom line is not everyone loved this Star Wars movie. Who doesn't love The Mandalorian, or at least like it?
It's a good pull.
It's-
I've heard no
dissenting
met
opinion.
no one
Nobody.
who is not like.
So if
John Favreau
so if
was
you're-
the architect.
And if you're
And it's
looking
his
for
universal
someone,
vision.
if you're looking for someone now to lead Star Wars into the next set, why not at least have a conversation with him? Someone who clearly loves the universe.
His clearly established relationship now with Disney makes nothing Disney owned out of the realm of possibility.
John Favreau for Gargoyles movie. A new
Sure.
Gargoyles movie. I
There
just
it
learned.
is. That's very.
Ming,
very-
last-
Bernie Casey's still alive, right?
Yeah.
All right, beautiful.
Done. Last thoughts on Superman, if any? And this run?
Let Mike Zapcic write it.
Yeah. Oh shit, I'm in.
Let me be the architect.
I'm
I don't want to write
definitely
it.
behind
Yeah.
I just want to
Yeah.
be the architect. Let me be the architect of
No,
DC
right,
Comics.
let him
Can I
be
just
the
call you on
Cyclops
Sundays to be like,
of
what are you
the-
thinking?
Yeah, sure.
Just so if you hear me like grumble to myself, you're
Or
like,
Marvel. Same thing.
anything.
One
Marvel's
vision,
a better
one
even
guy.
example.
A vision.
A singular, exactly. And you know what? And this is going to segue quite nicely as
Ooh,
I
segue machine.
take over control of the
Oh.
ship, US Comics Cast.
Follow us on social media. That's US Comics HQ.
Nice. See, we're already applying what we've learned. Beautifully done.
U.S. Comics HQ.
So
The
speaking
Q
about,
stands for quality.
well, that's not. All right, sorry about that.
HQ.
Sorry about that.
High quality.
Damn it, I couldn't think of the word high just now.
It's all right. It's all right.
I have no idea what.
There
was
may
going
be a
through my
reason
mind
for that.
either.
So staying in the vein of Marvel, I just want to put this out there. I am not now nor ever have been a rumor monger. I tend to let those echoes kind of bounce off my scaly hide.
Okay,
Shut your face. But I am exclusively coming to the table today with a rumor because of what it has done to my nether regions. And no one can deny what the success...
that what I smell?
Yeah, I apologize. I said
It's
crack
okay.
a window,
It's
but
all right.
there don't seem to be any. No one can deny the success that the Marvel Cinematic Universe has had. And all you know, they've gotten all of my money, so no one's happy about it than me. But the one thing the knock that you can give to Marvel has been their rights issues, their rights over certain characters, and you know, when they were going through their financial troubles, they kind of just sold off children, so to
Sure.
speak, to
They
make
needed
rent.
money, yeah.
And sometimes it didn't work because they had to move. As a matter of fact, from what I've heard, more rumors. But that has had a lasting effect. I mean, we all just saw the most recent custody battle with poor little Spider-Man,
Yes.
and kind of getting him back into the fold. And I'm very grateful that he's back now firmly in the Marvel Cinematic
Well, at
Universe.
least for
And,
one more.
Yeah.
well,
Like it's-
maybe one is all it takes.
He's
And it-
definitely going to be in Venom 2. And that
and,
upsets
well,
me.
yeah, that is talks.
Or Venom 1, because they'll scrub that one.
Venom 1
Right.
Redux.
Like, now you've got a symbol on your chest, Venom. Congratulations.
so
but-
just weird cum veins.
but the rumor that has just grabbed me by the throat and squeezed until I said my safety word is that they are getting back Hulk, which is great, meaning that
That's number
we
one,
can
yes.
now talk
Yeah.
about Hulk. You know, they brought in Mark Ruffalo for like pitch us like what kind of movies do you want to now make if we, you know, now that we can potentially make these. But one of the OGs, boys and gents, the Submariner himself, Namor, may be coming back to the fold, and boy, oh boy, ooh, is my fanboy flaring up. I am so excited So now again, the rumor is that you may be a few years younger than me. I'm not sure.
It's a fact.
I'm not
the
sure. I'm
youngest
not sure.
34-year-old anyone's
You
ever met.
showed up to the house. You were already 5'10" as a baby, so I'm not positive.
5'10" wide.
Wow, your poor
But-
mother.
She deserved it. To be honest.
She got them Darth Maul
So
robot legs now.
Around the table, how excited is the concept of Namor in the Marvel Cinematic Universe? It can't just be me.
Now that we've got Fantastic Four back in, how awesome is that?
It's just.
All warm inside.
And Namor as an Avenger.
Oh,
I mean, especially now that you have this amazing, relative clean slate of what are the Avengers in this world
Yeah.
left over.
oh, you have
Because-
gaps in your lineup. Let me go ahead and give you the original anti-hero. How's that gonna do for your storytelling? Man, jazz you
And
up
just
a little bit.
they cast so well, by and large, someone's gonna chew up that material and just crush it.
Oh yeah. Oh my God. Of course.
He's such a dynamic character in such a unique
He
way.
is, I mean, literally OG. Like, if you want to talk about like the original Marvel trilogy, it's Captain America, it's the original Human Torch, and it's the
robot-
fucking Submariner himself, all pointy ears, crew cut, all day, every day. And for
You're gonna
me,
hate his costume because they're gonna give him pants.
Well, but here's the thing,
You're gonna
and
be pissed.
nobody's
No
perfect.
Speedo? We don't get it the Speedo?
Maybe
Nobody's perfect.
that'll be what he's wearing before he puts on his like generic Avengers
Yeah.
white I'm gonna
Give
sell
him the
toys
Speedo.
costume.
He'll get the call. He'll have his Speedo on. He's like, what? I guess I'm
If you can pull up the
pants
Speedo
on
outfit
if I'm
from like
going up.
the CoverGirl issue they did, just abs for days.
Yeah, well,
Nah, they're gonna give him that terrible
when you've
open
got
vest.
When you
yeah,
have
they're
a
gonna
12
give him
pack
that. Oh my God.
and the little underwear.
Yeah, there we go. John's Halloween
with-
costume
with
this
the
year.
belt.
That's it. That's John Buscema right there. That's the, look at that.
That is
Those-
classic.
That's a 12 pack right there,
Yeah,
folks.
seriously.
Oh my God, that's
He
cool.
got the abs on the sides,
He
no
could-
nipples.
he
He's
could
perfect.
Flank for days.
Someone's like Vin Diesel for Submariner. I'm like, no.
I would like someone whose face didn't look fatter than mine. Poor Vin Diesel works out like a
Listen,
madman.
I mean, you're not gonna
Chubsky
say
face.
it. Not gonna say it to his face.
I will.
I appreciate
His
that.
face and Jonah Hill's face
Then I will miss
never
you.
change
Then I will-
size.
If you want to say it to Jonah Hill, I'll stand behind you.
I'm gonna say it right
Not
now.
Right
I'm
now.
more afraid of Jonah Hill than I am Vin Diesel.
Here's one. No, he's got Groot already. Why you gotta be greedy?
Also, look
Yeah,
how
thank you,
stupidly
thank you.
round his head is.
No.
He has a terrible jawline. I think I hate Vin Diesel.
In all fairness, that does
I'm
make
not a
him.
big Vin
Aero-
the problem is,
aerodynamic
I
underwater.
really found a way to enjoy all those Fast and Furious movies. Now they're embarrassing me by making a cartoon. They're like, only idiots and children like this. I'm like, I'm gonna go F myself
But
in
look-
the corner.
Here's the bitch. They already got Jason Momoa as Aquaman. He would have made a perfect Namor.
would
Or
have
does he
made
get to
a
be the double-double?
perfect Namor.
He doesn't get to do the no
DC
double
can't
double.
command
no,
anyone
no,
to
no,
do
no,
shit.
Contract.
No,
It's like
no.
no Namor.
Yeah.
It's
That's
in the
all it
contract.
says. He's gonna show up as
Momoa.
Professor X.
no Namor.
Yeah, you can be Professor X.
That's his loophole.
Momoa,
What's up? I walk now, motherfuckers.
Yeah,
his
fuck-
usage-
what's up, suckers?
has broken my heart already because he should be Lobo.
Oh, he should be
Like
Lobo.
if no one else, he should be Lobo. Like what are you even doing to me?
Did DC know all
but-
of the muscly men that like would get rumored for him and
Oh,
just
yeah.
like let's get Rock
Yeah.
is Shazam's enemy. Like let's like just get rid of
Get
anyone
Brad
willing.
Garrett. All right, everybody. I do the voice anyway.
Yeah, here's a boatload of money. Then
Yeah.
now we got you. You can't defect.
Yeah.
What is
Sit
that?
there and
Why
like
am
it.
I not familiar with? What's that weird Namor?
Which weird Namor?
The next row down, far left.
The vampire Namor?
Yeah.
Listen, the
What's
sun
with
doesn't
Goth?
get down there.
oh,
What do you-
Goth
what do you
Namor.
want?
That was. Oh God, that was.
Namor McKenzie.
I'm
Twilight
so
Namor?
angry. All right, I didn't mean to
Well, his
distract.
father
from the
was
point.
Leonard McKenzie. So
That's terrible.
I know.
No, what's
God.
cool too is we've seen what Aquaman
But that's the
could
thing.
look like, and it
And-
was beautiful.
And again, I know that we were coming off. Look, it was low hanging fruit as far as satisfaction is concerned for DC movies. 'cause
Yeah.
they underperformed and they were not universally even. they
or
were-
like
they were
good. A lot of them weren't very
friend
good.
zoned at best. They're like, all right, you can come to the party, but nobody's gonna be talking about.
I'm
you.
not stoked about it.
But look, for me, the Aquaman movie was better than some of the things that we saw from the DC house up to that point for sure. But I wasn't like it didn't blow my socks off. Certainly, Namor can be a sock blowing mother sucker.
Well,
They
again,
really
it's-
can.
They have a few cheat codes because no one was upset about the visuals of
No,
Aquaman.
visually Aquaman
So
was
you kind of can just
awesome.
steal what you want to from it and not like there are people that are like, what are they gonna have like talk bubbles? Like, no one cares. It's a movie. They hear each other just goddamn fine.
Yeah, sure.
Like there was a lot of the one really cool thing Aquaman did was it really did test audiences' patience for like wet hair and like what does and doesn't make. They're like, nah, it's fine. It's fine. And what's cool is despite this overabundance of comic book movies, it's not like when the 90s were trying it. These are all at bare minimum, they're very watchable.
Mm-hmm.
I don't love the Marvel Cinematic
they're-
Universe the way
they're-
some people do. I get why they love it. But for me, again, shout out to Favreau. Iron Man to me should have been like, let's make really compelling movies that fit in these characters.
Sure.
Yeah.
But what's cool about Namor specifically, you can kind of make a very Iron Man feeling.
You totally can.
Flick.
Because for me, and part of the reason why I was so excited to hear it, and I'm just like saying my prayers every day that this is indeed true because rumors have bit me in the ass, is the fact that it's a timely character to bring to the stage because as Batman will have taught us by now, people love the anti-hero. They love Wolverine has taught us like they love those characters that are not necessarily the Boy Scout that you know that you can already predict, so to speak, how the story is going to go. But also the fact like here's a cat who lives underwater in this era of climate change and plastic being found
Sure,
in the
single-use
belly of
plastics and
yes.
disposable straws.
I can see him bursting through the
damn
waves with like a
what
metal
the
straw in his
hell?
hand. and,
Yeah.
like his story is perfectly timed to hit right now. And I mean, I don't know how you can fuck it up. I really don't.
You
It's
can.
not a
and
challenge.
They will. Yeah. Here, hold my beer. What they can do, and John Byrne again started this in the '90s when he brought Namor back.
Mhm.
And Namor had his own series, and it was freaking phenomenal. He became a player on the Wall Street scene
Right.
because he's
The
like,
fucking
hey,
Illuminati for
yeah,
Christ's sake.
yeah.
well, this is pre-Illuminati. for
Oh
a
shit.
bit. And he's like, look, I know where all these sunken treasures are, so let me capitalize on this. And he buys a company, and he's like, all right, we're gonna start making some fucking changes.
Thanks. son.
Awesome.
So
Come on.
that
That's
would be
brilliant.
right
What if
there.
it's just Wolf of Wall Street in the water?
Dude,
Like,
yeah.
let's never
I'm
know.
in. I'm 100%
My
in.
one fear is it's going to be
the
Luke Evans.
Sea Wolf of Wall Street.
no?
Luke, I feel like that's
Oh,
the
I don't
cheesy casting people would want.
No.
It's not Smallville.
Rude.
Sorry, buddy.
I wouldn't mind Keanu. He's wrong for it, but
It-
I would still watch the hell out of that.
I mean, you
Wolf
put him in
of-
anything now.
Actually, right there he is. That's
was
Namor.
it the first that popped up?
There you go.
Oh, no, that's unfortunate. He doesn't have
That
the
might be
side
the-
abs like we wanted.
I would love to see Daniel Craig as
Holy
Namor.
crap, that would be
Daniel Craig
good.
would be fucking awesome.
Daniel Craig would
He
be a
has that
solid
look on his
That's
face.
a really good.
He's like,
he has to dye his
I
hair, though.
already know better than you. Shut up. We're gonna do what I want to do.
There you are.
Um,
That's
Do you
him.
think he would insist? He's like, listen, I'm not wearing a shirt, and I'm not going to wear the full panties. I want to wear the. I can't believe they're not panties.
You know, it's
From
fine.
James Bond.
If he wants to wear like a
Shorts.
yeah.
Look
There
at
you
that.
go. The Superman
Right here,
Returns
boys.
leftover.
That-
He would be perfect.
Look how
I'm
happy he
jazzed up.
looks right
I'm
now. Just
so
we're
jazzed-
talking about him
and,
as Namor.
and to have a legitimate. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but
I always do.
we try to. The Marvel Cinematic doesn't really have the true anti-hero player on the scene where, like, even during Civil War, like, they took no enjoyment, in kind of fighting each other.
No.
And a matter of fact, like the anti-heroes, we've had the conversation, like the bad guys who are like not necessarily that wrong, like
The Punisher.
Punisher. Yes, exactly right. And that's another rumor that I praised coming true, that they're gonna cart over the Netflix
I
Daredevil
would
Netflix
love to see
Punisher. Nothing would make me happier.
Killmonger.
Thank you. Killmonger is the best example. His puckered up self. I mean, I understood where he was
wasn't
coming
wrong.
from. He wasn't wrong.
Wasn't wrong.
And he fought like the Dickens. But
Killmonger ruled.
I am just so excited for the concept. I'm just jazzed.
Well,
I'm
it's
jazzed.
it's really cool that these Marvel movies that 2 seconds ago I was like, I don't love him as much as everyone else. I hear announcements like this,
got
and I'm like,
chubbed up.
holy crap! No, flipping tables, smacking babies. Like, yeah, let's get a Hulk movie. Now the jerk in me can be like, we kind of got a Hulk movie because the please don't be mad at us about Thor 2, Thor 3 movie was so good, but had so much. It was such an elegant workaround. But like, no, he's like the third build lead. It's fine.
Yeah, it was all right.
It's a team movie, but the idea of getting that, of getting Namor, of just having more room for these. Now I feel like these movies can experiment a little bit more.
You can actually do the Defenders. You can do a legitimate
You
Defenders.
can totally do the Defenders, and you can do it in precisely the way that they did the Avengers, and have like your standalones building towards this thing, and it would speak to having an overall vision. This was important because of X, Y, and Z, not like what you have now, where. And I'm very much looking forward to the new Wonder Woman flick, but
That
to
trailer's
have-
great.
I'm looking forward to it. I really thoroughly enjoyed the first one. Patty Jenkins is a boss.
She really is.
But like, you almost have to have those stories out of.
2 down, 2 over. There you
Yes,
go. John
yes.
Byrne.
Yes.
It's
Wow. Look
happening.
at that.
It is happening. You have those stories out of
Wow, that
out
would be
of
such a great
era,
lineup.
so that you don't have to explain away, well, where's this person, where's that person? And Marvel's doing such a great job of it, and they're juggling way more balls in the air than anybody else.
What I
soundbite,
really
I know.
love too, though, is just going back to this idea of you can now have a legitimate Defenders. We were talking, I think, before we recorded. It's this idea of getting to start at the juiciest part of the meat, because you don't need to. If they do carry over the Netflix characters, that stuff can all stay. Daredevil has yet to put the D's on his chest,
When they're street
and
level,
that's
also,
what I'm
which will help.
waiting for. I'm like, that could be the movie.
What the fuck was
moment in the
Daredevil gonna
second
do
act.
about Thanos?
Well, yeah, but
He's
I
like-
would like to see.
It smells funny.
But
Yeah,
after
thanks
this,
a lot.
after this Thanos thing happened, I would love
Somebody
to see
fart.
riots in the streets, and like the Defenders
Oh,
have
sure.
to deal with that. Well, it's just there's these amazing opportunities. Now they know that they can play with time, because Captain Marvel was a complete, was a complete fan fest of
Doctor Strange.
It's,
If you gave me just a little tiny bit of pointy ear in Doctor Strange, you'll have me forever.
it's
Just like Elizabeth Shue. Let's take a moment.
to be heard soon. It's just that's there's so many great characters left, but Namor is probably the one of the last of the
Well,
real pillars.
The big
That are-
gun.
the
that
big
are
guys, right?
missing.
And again, this is just my personal opinion, so nobody attack me. But I definitely feel that Iron Man, when Favreau got his mitts on him, he wasn't really an A-lister. I mean, like for guys like us, absolutely he was, and I had all the figures and
He was a while away
the,
from his
the
cartoons.
few mementos that you
Yeah.
could get of them. But like he wasn't Captain America. He wasn't Wolverine.
No.
He wasn't any of these.
Which
So-
is why I think they let him run the ball the way he wanted
but
to
that's
run
what
the
I'm
ball.
saying. Like he took a character that was not, wasn't in the on the forefront of people's brains, so to speak. And that, I think, as great as the movie is, and it's great and it holds up, and everything good that you could possibly say about him, people just didn't fucking see him coming. It was like Al Pacino as a devil. You don't see him coming.
I'll tell you exactly what they were doing at Marvel at the time, because I remember I was reading. It was at the end of Civil War when they came out with Iron Man.
Uh-huh.
And Civil War, you had, and there's a thread that runs in. It was Civil War Frontline. It was an ancillary tale that they could squash real quick.
Oh, you
Because
like
nobody
that?
was
Okay,
reading
it's fine.
it.
That's fine. Didn't
But-
happen.
Tony Stark made billions of dollars from war profiteering, and they were going to turn Tony Stark into kind of a bad guy.
Oh crap!
He was actually going.
That's
until
awesome.
Then
See?
Iron Man hits.
Favreau was like, "No, let's not do that."
Yeah. Iron Man hits, and then they crumple. Mark
He's the
Miller
best.
crumples it up and then throws it away. So, but you had Iron Man who was profiteering. They're like, we're gonna prove it, and they never did.
We're gonna
But-
prove it. Did everyone went to the movie? Everyone liked them?
Yeah.
Oh no, never mind.
Then never mind. No one's
Zero
gonna prove it.
convictions.
Exactly. And
Oh no, I was about to say fake news as if it was Tony.
Damn it.
I can't do that.
and they
Don't do
made
it.
him director of Shield, and they were gonna go ahead and have him like sort of turn on the superhero community.
That's freaking.
That's
That's awesome.
That would have been a great
Yeah.
It would've been
storyline.
awesome.
But Favreau had to go and fuck it up for us comic
Sorry.
book fans.
Damn, Favreau,
Not
you
as-
and your
not
talent.
as-
What the hell?
More as a statement than a question because I don't want to go too off topic. But when will they just admit that like ticket sales and comic book sales have no correlation? It doesn't work. The movie doesn't hit. Like
they,
you get them.
They do have a they
I would
have a
absolutely
they have
think
a
people would have
very
accepted
much.
heel.
All right,
Iron Man.
I'll throw out my own personal experience. Superman the movie made such an effect on kind of like the landscape that they started drawing Superman to look like Chris.
Yeah.
You know, so when you get
What
to
a
that
handsome
point,
devil he was.
boy, oh boy.
Mostly just Gary Frank was doing
Yeah.
that. Wasn't a whole lot of them.
All I'm saying is that's what my sheets look like. So I was like, this must be the universal thing.
Yeah, that's Kurt Swan was the definitive in the 60s, 70s, and 80s.
For sure, yeah.
Was the
The
definitive Superman.
barrel-chested.
And John Byrne's run had Superman as like sort of like Colossus. He was big and beefy. He's like, wow, they growing big out in Kansas. Right. And then Dan Jurgens and
Yep.
everyone after
You got the movie
death of-
version.
Yeah, and then you had the only person I know who was drawing him like Christopher Reeve was Gary Frank.
Yeah.
Yeah, which
That's
is
awesome.
cool.
Wasn't there something crazy going on with Superman in '78 though? He was a TV reporter instead of a news
Yes.
guy, and the movie was like, we're not doing that.
Yeah, he's
That's
Nope,
dumb.
Daily Planet.
No, he was
Yeah.
working two jobs. He was.
Oh, was he doing both?
He was a reporter
'Cause-
and an anchor man.
Yeah,
So,
because all I remember is there's like a great and a lot of indie comics borrow it, where it's like Clark the TV reporter. Because remember that time? But he was drawn. There's one famous picture, I can't think of it, but it's him behind the news desk, and he's just so wide shouldered.
Yes.
That everyone would know that particular.
Yeah.
Again, we talk about it on the show a lot, but Zooey Deschanel from New Girl, she proves that if you throw on glasses and bangs versus no glasses, no bangs, you get away with
She's-
being two different people.
I'm convinced
However,
she's twins. and
news
that's
reporter,
not her. It's not her.
news reporter Superman would have been, nightly news Clark would have been a real interesting.
And he's in front of like 8 million
Yeah.
people, as
People
opposed
just
to Superman,
bored, yeah.
who's in front of 80 million people.
I mean, how that just wouldn't even work. He's in the middle of a newscast. Oh, there's a border dispute. I'll be right back. And then like he's got to go handle his business.
Where'd he go?
Yeah.
Yeah, and we're back. And
No,
the
they
border
did
dispute's
that.
over.
Yeah. They did that. They did that a whole bunch of
That's
times.
hilarious.
Because Josh Coyle was his like the producer, and he's sitting there like popping tums. He's like, oh, Clark Kent's gonna be the death of me. Oh my
That's
god.
hilarious.
I mean, that's a solid gimmick for like an issue arc maybe, but like you can't
Constant?
make that.
They kept doing
forget
it. And
about it.
They had Superman and Clark interviewing Superman. And he's like super speeding back and
That's-
forth. It's like, dude, somebody's
Like
gonna
on
slow that
2020?
the fuck
Yeah,
down and
come
be like,
on.
wait a minute. Yeah, it's like-
Also, I know he has superpowers, but there's no way that knot on his tie is going to be the same every time. There's
Yeah.
no way. There's going to be a lost button.
Yeah.
That would make more sense. He slowly just looks super disheveled. Has the S curl like stuck to his glasses. Best hair gel in the business, Superman.
yeah, that's right.
Maybe
man.
actually Namor.
And
Going
Well,
through that much water,
yeah,
I think.
Namor.
Wait, who doesn't look good coming out of the pool? Like you know,
I look a
Gotta give him
little
a
bit
break.
like a beluga whale. Was this an attack?
I'm
Rude.
not publicly.
This is why I don't take you to Hawaii when I go.
See, that's just that. That's
But
a personal
I think
attack, sir.
Daniel Craig is like secretly who I've always wanted to
Yeah,
play
good
Namor.
choice.
Now that
Good
you
choice.
put it
Yeah,
out there
that's
into the
a- that's
ether,
a
I'm like,
solid pull.
Telling you.
and he's available because he's not 00 nothing anymore.
I guess not. Yeah.
they
so-
talked him into another one more though. He's been saying like, I'm not going to be James Bond again for the
Got another
last
one?
3
I thought he
films.
was- I thought this was it.
This is no, the last one he said was going to be his last one.
Oh, you meant this one. They
Now
talked
is
him into-
the new last one. That's how the Marvel
Yeah,
That's
contracts
right.
work.
Yeah, come over to the Marvel Universe. It's
Yeah.
fun there.
Yeah.
It's fun there.
Well, the water's
It's
fine.
fun.
How would you like
Ever
God
been to
like
a
money?
Comic-Con?
Yes, seriously. We're gonna back up that dump truck in front of your villa.
That stupid mouse driving. Sure, you don't want some of these monies?
Listen, for points, I'll do whatever they
Oh
want
yeah,
me to
for
do.
sure.
They could get me for what I get paid now, and like I would at least throw out a couple HJs at minimum.
You
Like,
show
can we
up with
bring that
your
mouse?
checkbook, you're like, who do I make this out to? And when is my scene?
Namor has a sidekick now.
Oh,
yeah,
this was the
some
other
Puerto
thing.
Rican kid.
And this is what actually struck me because just to reconnoiter, I actually forgot that it's not just his was it Homo Mermanus is like the
Homo
category
Mermanus,
they gave him. So like the majority of his awesomeness, it's much in the same way that like I think we can agree everyone here loves Superman, but to a very large degree, Kryptonians on Earth can really all kind of be Superman. Like they can do these amazing things. It's his upbringing, his character, and his chemistry that make him, special. In much the same way, if you're running around with Namor, with his people, you can do that shit too. He's also a fucking mutant, and that's why he can fly. So when you come to the table and they
That's
have
my favorite fun
they've
fact.
got the mutants back now. You know what? Maybe Namor can usher in the age of mutants.
What if he just
in
shows
the
up at the
cinematic-
end of New Mutants, like the movie that they're definitely
Never
ignoring
gonna
after
come
it's
up.
out?
Yeah.
Well, allegedly that's back on now. But what if that was the teaser? It's just Daniel Craig like coming soon, baby.
Just real slow out of the water.
It's
for
the gun thing
for the
from James Bond,
hard-working
but it's a
ladies at
squirt
home.
gun.
Dun, 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 dun. Namor is back.
Just like
Allegedly April 3rd
stream of
again.
water out of his mouth.
What I heard was they're letting it come out because it cost so much to make.
Well, Disney said,
but now
like-
it's going back to the original cut.
As
Before
opposed to
there
they
was
cut it up?
the Fox cut apparently where they were like make it fit with X-Men.
Right.
And apparently the original version was like, don't worry about X-Men. This has nothing to do with X-Men. So allegedly that's the cut that's going to come out. They're going to let it be.
It works for Wanda.
They're going to let it be like a Disney horror movie, and be like, you're not going to see
Yeah.
any of these motherfuckers again
Well, they'll stand.
unless it makes money.
But
They'll be
isn't
the
that-
new X-Men.
Isn't that the ultimate defining standard? You're like, oh, you like that? You spent money on it? That's the new thing. That's exactly
Yeah.
what everything is now.
Well, back in the day, that was only the second X book, if you can believe that.
Really?
really?
Yeah, absolutely. There was
Jesus
X-Men,
Christ.
and then there was New Mutants. There was nothing. That was it. That's all we had. The X-Men was because they didn't throw, spaghetti at the wall. I mean, they were like, "Hey, let's see what sticks."
Yeah.
It was like this was a plan, and this was a plan way before it came out in 1984, 1983.
Sounds right.
That's tremendous.
1983, somewhere in there.
Your memory for this stuff is
It's disgusting.
I'm going to
awesome.
call you Google in a minute.
But Kitty Pryde was supposed to join the New Mutants, and it was going to form around her. And then John Byrne left the X-Men. See, that's what was going to happen. It was going to be the X-Men were the strike team, and then Xavier was just going to have
the
his
JV.
Yeah, he's going to have the freshman squad.
Right.
That's
Not even
awesome.
JV.
That is awesome. Practice squad.
Yeah. So
They were all wearing the yellow jersey that
Yeah,
Deadpool
get the
wore. and-
pennies.
it was supposed to be Kitty Pryde. There was a kid who was introduced in Fantastic Four. His name was Evans, and he could make like nightmarish creatures,
Oh, that's awesome.
like nightmarish versions of real creatures. He had the Fantastic Four fight themselves, and they're like, like nasty looking things.
How'd they go? One more time? That perfect.
There you go.
Spell that.
Coming at you, April
Seriously,
3rd.
where's Marvel with the checkbook? Because I just
Yeah. you
April
welcome,
3rd,
Marvel.
2020,
you
everybody.
go.
You can get that.
The
April
richest
3rd,
get it all
2020.
for
Look
free.
out for.
If they bring you in to be like, we need more of that.
It's not too late.
need more
It's
of
not
that.
too late.
Final thoughts, Johnny Boy, on Namor?
I mean, unless someone wasn't paying attention, I am clearly super excited for it. And honestly, I think when you're talking about like kind of the next chapter, so to speak, I know they have their phases and everything's well labeled. I think with that really perfectly, opens the door for the what's next of it all. Again, you can have him usher in the mutant era. You can have him be the okay.
I
well,
didn't even
not
think of
it's,
that.
It's not black and white. Here's a character that's going to kind of flip flop depending on the situation. A character who's going to kind of hold up the mirror and say like, hey, You're fucking up. Look at all this negative that's coming from you, regular people. I'm just super excited. I think the possibilities are endless.
Ming, what about you? Last thoughts on Namor finally coming to live action.
Well, it would be nice to see a Dick, and not a Dick Grayson.
Wait a second. I didn't
so-
know how this worked. Being in the shared universe
Relabelist,
studios, I didn't promise.
very,
But,
very
y-
special.
You know, he's
I don't even know how this works in a shared universe. I'm like, he wants to see
he's
a
a dick,
dick.
but he's a good guy. I wanted to see him
Yes.
butting heads with
Yeah.
Iron Man.
Ooh, butting heads.
Iron
dicks,
Man's super
dicks,
dead.
butts.
Yeah, I
He's
wanna
super
see-
dead. You're not gonna get that.
Yeah, and those are
Unless
two.
there's a flashback.
Spoiler. Ooh,
Come on now.
my bad.
How about Thor? Thor against him. I think that Thor versus Daniel Craig, that'd be great.
And I want
man.
to see him stealing Reed Richards' young
Damn straight.
bride. I want him to
That's it.
see him stealing two storms.
Better
Well, this'll be
raise your
fun,
game,
man.
Stretcho.
That's right, man. This'll be
Did you
fun.
hear John Krasinski is lobbying for
I heard that.
Reed
I heard
Richards?
he
Not bad.
he and his wife.
Yeah,
How
Emily
fucking great
Blunt.
would that
That'd be
casting
pretty-
be? That would be.
I genuinely, anytime someone is that excited to do something specifically, I'm like, just let him do it.
Bump him up.
Just let
That's
him
an
do it.
automatic
At
bump up.
worst case scenario, what? They're a big enough name that it makes news.
Right.
So people are going to see it and what? Not love it? Recast. We're in our
You've done it like
seventh
5
Hulk.
or 8.
Yeah, seriously.
5th or 6th time on the Fantastic Four. So.
Yeah, it's like what's everyone should get a turn at this point. Like this should be a see what sticks.
Yeah, exactly.
Be like Sylvester Stallone and Sue Storm in.
Oh, and definitely wings on the ankles.
You need
Oh,
wings on
Keep the wings
100%.
on the ankles.
Don't even do it if you're not gonna do wings on the
In
ankles.
the 90s, it would have been like little ankle tattoos. It would have been something terrible.
Whatever, man. Whatever.
You'll
I'll
still
take
accept
it.
ankle
Yes,
tattoos?
I'll
Noted. He's signing off. You will.
I'll go take it
I'm
now.
all right. You know what? And-
Oh my God, you guys are a much
Wow.
easier audience than I thought.
oh
Have we
man.
not learned make them organic or not? No, don't make. Wait, that didn't work for Spider-Man. Our organic web shooters. That was bad.
That was just
No,
because
but
that
this
scene
time-
was sexy.
But his ankle wings are organic,
They are.
so make
these-
them organic.
Make them organic.
the
for us.
little
straight.
robot, they just went the other direction. But why do you have little robot wings? Any other thoughts on Namor coming?
No, I'm excited. I'm truly excited. This is big news, and I'm hoping that if he's not the villain in Black Panther, then the other rumor that Doctor Doom is true. So that'd be awesome.
Just cut me a slice of that.
Yeah, I'll take it.
For the mighty Ming, for the excellent Mike, for my brother, the CEO of US Comics, I am Charlie Rivera. This was US Comics Cast. We're coming to you live to tape from a shared universe studio, and I can't tell you enough how much I want you to like, follow, and subscribe. US Comics HQ. Tell us if you think we're wrong. Tell us if you know we're right. But I really kind of want to argue with someone. So
Tell us
let's
how
just-
much you love Mike and Ming.
yeah. I'm gonna write a little book about it.
Well, hey.
Awesome.
Well, hey.
I'll sign it. That's-
Until next comic book day, we will see you later. Peace.